This week, apparently even the biggest Apple fans are regretting buying the $3,500 Vision Pro headset. This week, the Wall Street Journal wrote a report about how early adopters felt about the Vision Pro a year on. And let's just say that it isn't pretty. One of the people they interviewed, Dustin Fox, said, "It's just collecting dust. I think I've used it 4 times in the past year." It then goes on to say that it's way too heavy. I can't wear it for more than 20 or 30 minutes without hurting my neck. And they also interviewed a man named Tovia Goldstein, who said that while he was excited to watch movies and TV shows on the thing, after 60 minutes, you just have to throw it down, saying that he hasn't touched it in 4 months. It then concluded by saying, "I wouldn't recommend anyone buying it unless you were really rich." So while this report did make quite the splash this week, it wasn't entirely unsurprising, because if you think about it, when was the last time you actually heard anyone talk about the Vision Pro? And while I did desperately want a Vision Pro when it was first unveiled, and I wanted it even more when I had to go at one at the Apple Store, after having been given a Meta Quest since then, which I've used extensively, which is a lot lighter and more comfortable than the Vision Pro, I still struggle to use it for more than an hour or so. I mean, I couldn't even imagine how much I would struggle with the Vision Pro. I tried watching a movie on my Meta Quest on a plane recently, and let's just say that when I took it off, my cheeks were aching for days after. It exerted that much force. Anti-protest on MacRumor's comments about this report, "It's so bad that I feel regret about it, even though I didn't even buy it." Yeah, I sort of feel the same way. I really wanted this to be every bit of the success that Apple wanted it to be. But the simple fact of the matter is that it isn't practical and doesn't really solve any particular issue. It was sort of just a product that was looking for a problem to solve. And if you think that the Vision Pro is great for traveling, well, have fun with the device taking up literally half of your carry-on suitcase, because after traveling with it, I never want to travel with a mixed reality headset ever again. BNBMS on MacRumor's comments, "Apple made a huge mistake with it and it's a total failure." And yet it's not just a failure from a sales perspective either, rather it's been a massive failure culturally as well. Within the space of months, for instance, the AirPods went from being a laughing stock on the internet to being one of the most fashionable and successful audio products of all time. And let's just say that wearing a Vision Pro in public today is just as weird as it has ever been. I would really be interested to hear from anyone who's bought a Vision Pro. Do you regret your purchase or not? I would love to know. Hi all, my name is Davis and welcome to the Tech Hot Takes, the show where we take a look at the most controversial stories in the world of tech over the past week and we see how the people of the internet reacted to them. This week we've already talked about the sad failure of the Apple Vision Pro, and next we are going to be talking about a possible Nintendo boycott. We are also going to be talking about a very, very unusual feature that TikTok is introducing, and also Samsung fans being disappointed with the new S25 Edge. Yep, even Samsung fans are disappointed. Last week in my TikTok comments, Windows 98 Love said in response to a story about the rumored dreadful battery life of the upcoming iPhone Air, "iPhones always come with terrible battery life. What's different about that?" And yeah, that is quite difficult to deny. The only reason why I've got the iPhone 16 Pro Max instead of the smaller version, as someone who hates larger phones, well, it's just because of the slightly larger battery. But honestly, I'm still charging this twice a day, so I probably might as well have just gone with the smaller one. So if you've got any hot takes about any of the stories today, I would love to hear your thoughts, and also feel free to give me a like and subscribe if you are feeling especially generous too. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing this ridiculous top, it's because I made a few videos about it on TikTok and they went viral, and I'm just going to assume it's because of this top. So let's get to the next story. So this week a lot of people are boycotting Nintendo. Why, you might ask? Well, is it because they insulted someone's nationality on social media like Dbrand did last year? Well, no, because it is much, much worse than that. It turns out that if you decide to tamper with your Nintendo Switch 2, your $450 gaming console that you spent your hard-earned money on, well, Nintendo will not only lock you out of your account, but the actual device might be rendered permanently unusable. Yet Nintendo is planning to brick actual consoles in the fight against piracy. Now, we all know that piracy is bad, and Nintendo in the past has prevented any number of hacked consoles from being able to use their online services. But to actually brick the hardware that people spend actual money on, just to implement a practice that's just so blatantly anti-consumer, well, it really highlights just how out of touch the brand is. Huge Clark 5476 on Reddit says, I get it, the games are fun, but people got to stop supporting this company that hates its own customer base. The only news I hear about Nintendo these days is them being anti-gamer, like shutting down small tournaments and now threatening to break devices. Yeah, it so often seems like that their business practices are completely at odds with their cute and innocent facade that they present, and actually quite often it works against their best interests, like preventing people from streaming a lot of their games. I mean, that's practically free advertising. Like, Nintendo, why would you stop people from doing that? Blue Joffles on Reddit says, no one hates Nintendo customers as much as Nintendo does. And finally, Gian1989 on Reddit says, Nintendo is encouraging emulation. I mean, we don't know that much about the Switch 2 yet, but the Switch 1 is so easy to emulate on something as affordable as, let's say, a Steam Deck. In fact, they actually run Switch games better than the Switch itself, so that is kind of insane to think about. So do you think that Nintendo deserves the boycott? Let me know in the comments. And our next story is quite possibly the weirdest thing that you will hear all week. TikTok is enforcing a meditation feature to stop teenagers from doom scrolling past their bedtimes. Yep, they are introducing forced meditation for all teenage accounts past 10 p.m. So basically, for teenagers under the age of 18, if they decide to use their app after 10 p.m, their For You feed will be interrupted by a guided meditation exercise that, in theory, would help them unwind for the night. I mean, of course, they could just swipe it away, but the notification will return and be harder to bypass the second and third time round. Now, while this just sounds like something that might actually potentially be helpful, DJ64MK7 on The Verge sums up my thoughts exactly. Why give minors the ability to disable or bypass it at all? It seems like that TikTok doesn't really want to protect minors, but merely just have the appearance of protecting minors, which is absolutely sleazy and should be investigated. However, despite my skepticism, TikTok have said that in their test, 98% of teens actually decided to keep the experience turned on. But again, I did have the meditation feature kept on my Apple Watch for a long while, and I would just perpetually ignore the notifications until I could finally be bothered to turn it off. So it might be a similar situation over here. Toolkits on Reddit echoes the same sentiment. That's like offering yoga classes after selling them Coke. However, Sarsaparilla on The Verge more positively says, I like the idea, it's not going to solve TikTok addiction, but compared to nothing, it's pretty cool. So what are your thoughts on this story? I would love to hear your thoughts on the meditation feature in the comments. And let's end with a spicy one, because it turns out that even Samsung fans hate the new Galaxy Edge. Because yep, this week the Galaxy Edge S25 came out, and let's just say that reviews have been pretty mixed. While people have been applauding the beautiful new slim design, unfortunately it does come with some compromises. It's rather expensive, starting at $10.99 US. It doesn't have the best camera system in the world, it's got a mediocre sized battery, and worst of all, to me at least, it just feels a little bit uninspired. Subbloiter on Reddit echoes my thoughts exactly. This feels more like a we did the thin phone before the iPhone Air device than a properly engineered thin phone with the tech to support it. I mean, that's what I said when it was first announced after many months of iPhone Air rumors. And the worst thing of all is that it isn't even all that slim. There have been slimmer phones in the past, but at the very least, the 160 grams weight is very light for the size indeed. Firo1190 on Reddit meanwhile says, what a dumb device. Compared to the Ultra, you get a smaller battery, no telephoto cameras, no anti-reflective screen, and a price that isn't that much lower. Just spend the extra $150 and go with the Ultra. Now, coming from someone who loves thin and light phones, even I feel you. While I haven't seen the phone in real life yet, I just don't think that the S25 Edge is pretty nor slim enough to justify its compromises. Maybe if it had a 360 curved display, a little bit like its predecessors, that could be really cool. And finally, Aguirre MA on Reddit says, I want a brick of a phone with a gigantic battery, actual fast charging, no camera bump, a metal unibody, no wireless charging, so there's room for even more battery, and I'm not even joking. Well, it sounds like that what you actually want is a tank phone. And let me just say that after trying to daily this 1.5 pound brick for a while, let me just say that you should really be careful what you wish for, because there's a reason why on the new version of this phone that they are going to literally half the battery size. And that's because it's just so unbelievably unwieldy, even if the battery can last like up to a week. So what are your thoughts on the Galaxy S25 Edge? Are you a fan or a hater? And that brings us to the end of this video. If you made it this far, I would really appreciate it if you could go and check out my new app called Impro. This is the project that I've been working on for the past 3 years, and over the past couple of weeks, it's finally been in the hands of actual users, and we've had some amazing feedback already. It's essentially, if you don't know, a brand new video-based marketplace platform where you can buy the products directly from brands and ambassadors without having to leave the platform, and you can see live demonstrations on the platform as well. At the moment, we are focusing on jewelry, but we are looking forward to quickly expanding with new vendors and products in the coming months. And I really look forward to seeing all of you guys on Impro. Otherwise, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment any thoughts that you have about any of the stories in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And until next time, toodaloo.